Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live once again for Empire State of Baseball. This is June 2nd of the year 2025. We are airing on Instagram, X, YouTube, and powered by StreamYard. Well, gentlemen, I know we had our Memorial Day check-in last week, and we're officially in our first episode of the month of June. Even though technically from a calendar standpoint, it's still spring, it's basically summer. Once you hit June, it's a full summer month in my mind. Great baseball month. Unfortunately, we could have still had maybe a Knicks championship run, but unfortunately came to an end this past weekend. So it is what it is. But at least we still got some very good baseball to watch between our two teams. Joe, how are you feeling on this fine Monday night?
Feeling good. I'm feeling a lot better. I had a rough sickness end of last week. So I'm finally
watched the New York Mets play baseball. Of course.
No, actually, they had a pretty good week, even though it was against the Rockies. But and it was a really nice day today. The only thing that stinks is all these games are 10 o'clock. I'm gonna be dead asleep by the time the fourth inning rolls around.
I know.
Today. So we'll see. We'll see how much baseball I actually get to witness today.
Yep, exactly. We'll see. Rich, how you feeling tonight?
Feeling good. It's Monday. It was a crazy roller coaster of a series for the New York Yankees against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Of course, we're gonna have more on the recap in a little bit. And yeah, kind of wish the Yankees had the better of that result of the World Series rematch between the Dodgers and the Bronx Bombers. But took one against Yamamoto. They took one against Max Fried. 18-run routing against a rookie. So there's a lot to talk about there. Some pros and cons out of that set, but otherwise. Feeling pretty good, though.
Nice. Yeah, there you go. And listen, Dodgers are a tough team. I mean, you got to go in there, hopefully take care of business. The Dodgers getting back-to-back New York teams, too, with the Mets. Again, we're going to get to it in a moment here, but Mets going in there for a four-game set. And to Joe's point, whenever I do that overnight bathroom trip, hopefully it's a nice surprise on my phone waiting for me at 3 in the morning if I get up. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, we got another one joining us here. There's Thomas. We missed you, bud. I don't know what happened. You lost the memo that we were still on tonight. I know we had a Tuesday episode last week, but we're not on Tuesdays permanently, my man.
Rich, you guys have no idea the world I'm living in here. I guess Joe has a partial idea of the world I'm living in. Yeah, Joe, there's a different factor of complications that go on here. Okay.
Well, you have a second. You have two.
Yes. That's the other big factor of a situation.
Listen, if you would like to take my son for a night to find out how much of a pain he can be, you're welcome to do so.
I have plenty of pains to be had.
He woke up 3 times between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. last night. So
it's not what you want. It's not what you want, but hey.
Well, here on this Monday, June the 2nd of season number 4, June 2nd is going to be dedicated to number 4, at least for the 5th annual time with MLB. But not only a day in baseball history, but a day in American history. And I can tell you all about this, but I'd almost rather just turn it back the clock to a time that I don't think most baseball fans were prepared for. One of the greatest players of all time, stricken with the deadly disease of ALS. And with that, we're going to turn it over to the legendary first baseman of the New York Yankees, Lou Gehrig. Take a look.
First baseman Lou Gehrig hung up an amazing mark by playing in 2,130 consecutive games. Then a fatal disease attacked baseball's Iron Man. In Yankee Stadium, touched to tears by the tribute, Gehrig made his last public appearance.
For the past 2 weeks, you've been reading about a bad brag. Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. When you look around, wouldn't you consider it privilege to associate yourself with such a fine-looking man as is standing in uniform in this ballpark today? That I might have been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for. Thank you.
One of the most emotional moments in Major League Baseball history. Nope, hold on a second now. We had more audio there. But yeah, one of the most emotional days in all of Major League Baseball history. And on this June 2nd, Thomas, again, we don't just celebrate a great Yankee. We celebrate a great American man. And we, again, spread awareness to a deadly disease.
Yeah, he obviously was a great player. He played through having ALS. He was playing in the early stages of having that terrible disease. I think Major League Baseball does a great job of not just honoring him, but also making sure that ALS, because it's so associated with Lou Gehrig, it's really Major League Baseball's charity of choice. It feels like it's the one that they do pump a lot of not just awareness into, but money into as well, which is always so important. And with things like this, just a terribly sad thing to happen to a fantastic person. I'll be honest, I had to do a quick Google of why they do it on June 2nd, because the speech is on the 4th of July. The speech happens the 4th of July. So June 2nd, for those wondering, was the first day of his game streak. So June 2nd, 1925 was his first game that started the 21-30. I was wondering that, because it didn't make sense to me why they didn't just do it on 4th of July, because that's when the speech happens. So there you go.
Yeah. Joe, your thoughts?
No, I mean, it's one of those things that it still kind of defies logic that there's nothing anybody has been able to do about this disease. I know one of the people most baseball fans know, Sarah Lang, is going through this very thing right now, and she's a warrior, and she's still tweeting out and enjoying baseball. So she's fighting it, but it just amazes me, all this progress in medicine and all that we've done. There's nothing that is available to slow it. There's nothing available to prevent it. There's nothing available to combat it. And it's just one of those things that is just, it's one of the last things you ever want to hear. I couldn't imagine. And I pray for those who still go through this. And I can commend Major League Baseball and everybody trying to raise awareness, trying to raise fund, and trying to find something to combat this and give people hope, when there hasn't been any for over 80 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy, because you think about some old diseases. I think of polio, for instance. Polio was a quicker death sentence than ALS. And obviously that went rampant. Back in the 30s, 40s, whatever. Now today, you don't see polio anymore. You just, modern medicine, took away a lot of these diseases, and then you have something like ALS still around today. It really is a shame. So hopefully one day we will find a cure. Time will tell how long it might take. The Lou Gehrig, one of the best players to play the game. Obviously, I wasn't around to see him play, but from everything I've heard, such a great guy. It's just a shame how it played out. But phenomenal career, Hall of Famer, and just got to keep him in our memories as we continue to move on in baseball.
Well said. And in our ticker, we mentioned to donate to ALS.org. The first I even heard of the organization, the ALS Association, to kind of bring it a little bit lighter, it was almost 10 years ago when everybody was dumping ice bucket, ice pails full of water over each other's head. And although it was funny to see those videos, again, it was always bringing awareness to something that, every 90 minutes somebody is diagnosed, and every other 90 minutes someone dies of ALS. So this is a serious disease. And, again, like Joey, as you mentioned, pray for those who are going through the illness, because it is a tough fight, and it is a fight that the gold great number 4 had a battle many years ago. So we're going to move on. and try to pick up the pace from here. Tom, let's talk about Roback, and then we're going to get into our Roback rundown.
Let's talk about Roback as we go through a rough transition here.
The roughest of all time.
The roughest of rough transitions. But listen, Roback, it's always Roback season, but summer is especially Roback season. And just really call attention to, we are less than 2 weeks away from Father's Day. And speaking as a father of two myself, there is no better gift under the Father's Day tree than some new Roback. And that's whether, yeah, well, listen, it does. And you want to put some nice things under the Father's Day tree for your dad and the dad in your life, whether your dad's a golfer or not. I know I do the polos a lot with the Roback, what they're initially known for, but they have awesome hoodies, Q-zips, new bathing suits out there, joggers, gym shorts, bunch of different options out there. A lot of really cool father and son matching polos. If that's something you're looking to get into, see little Teddy get involved eventually. Probably not yet. He's just gonna make an absolute mess of it for now. But in a couple years when you could put something on him and it doesn't instantly get just stained with formula and spit up and the life that you don't want to do that on the nice Roback polo. But anyway, head over to Roback.com. Use promo code TWASPL15. Save yourself 15% on an order for your dad or the dad in your life.
There you go. So from here, let's take a look at our Roback rundown. Corey Favs, what do we got on tap for tonight's show?
We're going to start off with Empire Express, giving you the latest and greatest of Mets and Yankees baseball. So we'll talk about the past week. We'll talk about the upcoming week. Any other news we're going to talk about here today. We'll then do a touch point on our ESB Fantasy Baseball season, 2K25. See how the team's doing. It's been a few weeks since we last checked, so see if there's been any action in the standings. We'll do New York Strike Exchange. Again, our Bulls and Bears, very fun segment. It's a fan favorite. We've recently introduced another, a fun twist to it, so we'll continue to see how our stock trading on the Bulls and Bears market plays out this week. And then finally, we're going to recap with Guess the Graph as our final segment of the day. Again, our game segments are always fun, so we encourage you all to participate in the chat.
I typically usually start with the New York Mets on the Roback rundown on the Empire Express. But you know what? Let's kick it off with some New York Yankees action here, Tom. Instead, let's change it up. Let's talk about those New York Yankees. Again, coming off this weekend set against the Dodgers, the World Series rematch. Dodgers got the best of the New York Yankees across the 3 games. Very peculiar that each team took a game against each team's not only their certified ace, but probably lead contender in their respective leagues for the American League and National League Cy Young Award this year. But the Yankees still remain in first, 36-22, 5.5 games now over Toronto. That bottom half of the American League East keeps on shuffling there, Thomas. Still leading in major categories, but damn, you would have loved to have seen at least the Yankees get a little bit more of a redemption against the Dodgers this past weekend.
You would have, but like I said going into last week, I don't think the Yankees really should have kind of built this up as like this is the biggest deal in the world, just like the Subway Series. Frankly, I don't care that much about Saturday. Like they got blown out. Will Warren was bad. They got beat out the gates, and then they threw in the towel. But unlike other sports, you got to keep playing it out. So it got ugly, but that game was over in the second inning. Friday stings a little bit. Is the first little chink in the armor for Max Fried. I'm not worried about him though. I mean, listen, he's been, like you said, he's been the best pitcher in the AL this year so far. He's been better than Skubal has been. So he's going to have a bad start. It's his first loss of the year. They had the lead and they coughed it up, which is rough. But I do think they showed a lot of fight to, win Sunday, after, losing with your ace on the mound Friday and then getting the absolute doors blown off you Saturday to come back Sunday Night Baseball with Ryan Yarbrough on the mound and to win that game. I do think that does show some grit. I do think it, they didn't roll over and die and get on the plane and cry on the way home. Obviously, like any series, you want better. You want to win the series. I think if you would have told most Yankee fans going into the weekend, listen, they're going to lose 2 out of 3, I think they would, not that you'd sign up for it, but you'd be like, okay, that's not what we want, but it's okay. Let's just move on. It was a long West Coast trip. They've been gone for a long time. That's a tough end to a West Coast trip. So overall, I'm not happy, but could be worse.
No, we're going to flip to the Mets side of the house because they have their own set against the Dodgers starting tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern time. And for those keeping score at home, that's not only long after ESB is done, that's also after extra innings is done as well. So good luck to Corey, Favs, and Joe staying up. I know it's going to be a little easier for Joe nowadays. I don't know so much about Corey. But
that sucks for the Mets. The Mets having to go Sunday, no off day to LA to play the Dodgers. I mean, granted, the Mets had a bye weekend, so it's not like they really had to put any effort in. But that still sucks, man. How do you not give them the day off in between?
That's true. The one solace, if you want to call it anything, it's at least you're getting a lot of the West Coast stuff done early. At the end of June, you're already done with the Dodgers. You'll be done with the Rockies out there. They played the Diamondbacks already earlier this year, so you knocked off a few of the West Coast trips, which are nice. But again, you look at the schedule here. You got 4 with the Dodgers starting tonight. You got the Rockies again in Colorado. If I'm on the Mets standpoint, looking specifically at the Dodger series, just take 2. Take 2 of the 4. You take the split. Obviously, the Rockies are very likely going to be the worst team in Major League Baseball history. So if you're a team with World Series aspirations, you not only have to win the series, you really want to go in there and sweep the series when a team is that poor. So if they can come out of this 4 with the Dodgers, take 2. You take 3 versus the Rockies. I'll gladly take that. Absolute worst, if you only take 1 from the Dodgers, which would be unfortunate, you sweep the Rockies. You still get 4 wins out of a 7-game set. More weeks than not, you do take that.
We'll flip back to the Yankee schedule shortly, but since we're just on this right now, Joe, I don't remember the last time I've ever seen a team play the same 2 teams and just flip the home and road splits back to back. This is crazy for the Mets.
Yeah, it's a weird schedule, but I agree with Corey. Listen, the objective for the Mets right now is to take 2 games in this series, win the season series. You then own the tiebreaker against LA, whether it's for the number 1 seed, which you're going to be challenging for, or if things don't shake out exactly the way either team wants, you're in and both in a wild card position. You own the tiebreaker against them in a wild card position. We saw that come into play last year against Arizona. That's the objective of the Mets. If they go 2-2 against the Dodgers and then go into Colorado and sweep Colorado, that's a great West Coast trip for the Mets. You sign on that dotted line right here, and be on your way. The Mets have had a great time, 5-1 against the White Sox and Colorado this past week. Now a game and a half up on Philly, who had Bryce Harper go down. Atlanta is 10 games back. You can kiss Atlanta goodbye. There's something's not going to fire with that team this year, and you can mark my words on that. They're not coming back from 10 games down to threaten for the division.
You hear that, chat? Mark his words. Atlanta's not coming back.
We had our resident Brave fan JoJo claim the Mets were going to be in 3rd place. We had Corey sitting here proclaiming June swoons, and everybody. And what happens, Corey? We come back after 2 weeks ago. You lost your shit, and now we're a game and a half back up on 1st place and with the best record in the NL. So everybody can chill the F out. The Mets are fine. Soto actually hit this past series, so we're good. So, but it's Mets and Phillies the rest of the way. I don't want to hear about the Braves until the Braves figure out how to win ball games consistently. There's flaws all over that team. But listen, the Dodgers are the Dodgers. They're going to be tough. Don't get steamrolled by them, and you're fine. I think it's much easier, I think, for the Mets to feel good coming out of this series with only needing 2 games to really take advantage of what this series can offer them than anything.
One interesting point too with the Braves mentioning, that how they're looking right now. I saw it on Twitter earlier and I didn't realize it, but it makes sense looking at the dates. This day last year, the Mets hit their low point. of the season. And then ever since then, I think they've won 100. I think, Joe, you might have sent a tweet earlier. They won 102 wins since that low point last year. So obviously anything could happen. And last year was such a fun ride from this point onwards for the Metropolitans. But yeah, something's up with that Braves team. And also with the Braves, too. I think they just announced that Freddie Gonzalez is coming back as the third base coach. Interesting move. They're trying to do anything to shake it up. They're trying to anything to spark a fire in that group.
You know, they're a strange team. When you actually look at some of the moves they made in recent years, the Sean Murphy trade did not work out at all. Matt Olson is a good first baseman. He's not a great first baseman. He's extremely streaky with the bat. He's a great fielder, extremely streaky with the bat. And they got a lot of issues. They haven't solved their shortstop issue. The Ozzy Albies is always hurt, and when he's not hurt, he's really not that good if you look at his raw numbers. So they got a lot of offensive problems there. Marcelo Ozuna is still their best offensive player. Acuna is off to a hot start. But that's a second ACL. We got to see how he's going to hold up over the rest of the season. So they have a lot of question marks in them. Their rotation's been beat up. They have a lot of guys that are fragile. And so it might just be a situation where the Braves just don't fire this year.
Couple comments here from the chat. I just wanted to read from the very beginning here. We got Cameron Belden from the building over at Yankees Pod. I am here for Rich and Tom, Joe, and Corey too. Come on, Cam. Shout out to Jack Esposito. Good to see Jack. Our guy Mike Parziali's in the building. We got a couple comments for you, Joe. Outside of the smash that like and sub button for the fellas. Thank you, Jacob Petruzzi. Got a comments on the Mets here from Jacob himself. He goes, Mets incoming 0-6 road trip is going to hit like crack. I guess they're going to get the last game against the Rockies. So there you go. Prediction.
We don't worry about the Mets. Yankee fans, Monday. Listen, look, real quick. Jacob, we don't worry about the Mets. That is the little brother behavior that we do not engage with.
Braves swap places by end of July. And then Jordan Tyler goes, when the Braves come back, we will need a previously on ESB from Jordan Tyler. So
listen, we don't care about the Mets. Who cares?
I'm not worried. Do you know from 1 year ago today, do you know who the best team in baseball has been? It's been the New York Mets. And it's by like 4 or 5 games too.
Are the Mets, sure it's not the Tigers?
No. The Mets have had the best record.
The Mets, wow.
June 1st of last year. They're 101-61 since June 1st of last year. That's the best mark by like 4 or 5 games over everybody else. The Mets, the idea that the Mets are going to fade or the Mets are not one of the top teams in baseball is crazy. I think the Mets have firmly established the fact that they are as good as any team in the NL, which is the best league in the sport right now. So I'm not worried about that. I think they're going to be fine. Let's get through the Dodgers series, then you get a little break with Colorado. But
you also just had a break with Colorado.
Yeah, well, and we already beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3.
Joe, I understand that the Mets are 8-2 in their last 10. The last 7 have been against the White Sox and the Rockies. And I understand the Dodgers were before that.
You got to beat who's in front of you.
You do, but I don't think you can go from things are looking not great to we're going to play the team last year who was the worst team ever, and then the team this year who's going to be worse than the worst team ever.
I didn't say see, that's the thing. I didn't say things weren't looking great. That was this guy up here, not me. He was the one who was freaking out. Even though we beat Arizona, we beat Chicago, this guy was freaking out because we lost. We had a bad series against the Yankees and the Red Sox. We already beat the Dodgers, so it's not like we hadn't beaten 3 division leaders in our league. We swept Philadelphia.
I'm just saying, I am just saying,
of beating good teams.
It was a good time. It was a good time to get to play some cupcakes to get everything back going before we play the Dodgers again.
I'd be more worried about the Yankees. The Yankees turned around and pulled up to Dodger Stadium only to go through the exact same thing they went through in the last game of the World Series.
So, I mean, that was essentially the question I was going to ask to kind of just bring this whole thing together. Of course, the title of our show is the Los Angeles versus New York skit, because obviously the Yankees just came out of facing the Dodgers. Mets continue their season series with LA. They took 2 out of 3 a couple weeks ago. Now they have a 4-game set. You essentially take 2, you split the series, like Joe had mentioned earlier in an early space that we had going on. Mets split the series to take the season series against the Dodgers. So my question, and this is probably just going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to just raise my hand on behalf of my team. Which team do you think by October has the best chance of knocking the Dodgers off in the playoffs, whether that be the New York Mets in a National League Championship Series scenario or the New York Yankees in a World Series scenario? I would like to take that around the room, and I'm going to start with my guy Thomas, who's down here.
Down here. Rich is here.
There you go. You're going to have to work on the pointing here. You're Brady Bunch.
Listen, Corey on the screen is the top left, but if I point top left, I'm pointing over here. I blame you for this.
You got to do the opposite. You got to do the opposite.
Well, you know what? That's
for me. It's this way.
Whatever. Anyway, short answer. I don't know. Who knows? I'll say if we want to get into semantics of it, I'll give the Yankees the edge. The Dodgers are going to have to go through a much harder gauntlet to win the NL than the Yankees will have to win the AL. In theory, if the Yankees win the AL, they're probably only really going to deal with the Tigers as a challenge, where the Dodgers are going to have to deal with some combination of the Mets, the Phillies, maybe the Braves, the D-backs, the Pod. Like there's a lot harder road for the Dodgers. So if the Dodgers can get to the World Series, I think they're going to be a lot more battered and bruised, where the Yankees might be sitting prettier. But who knows, man? I think both these teams are going to do some changes going through the deadline, getting players back. I just think it's. I'm not trying to piss on your game here. I think it's a tough question on June 2nd.
That's why I ask it, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's much more likely the Dodgers would get picked off in the NL before they get to a series than being picked once they're actually in the series. They showed it last year. They went through a gauntlet. They went 5 games with the San Diego Padres, and then they went 6 games with the Mets before they got to the series, and then they, handled the Yankees.
The Yankees handled themselves in the World Series.
But honestly, and then the first 3 games this year against the Yankees, it showed that the Dodgers can handle the Yankees. So the question is, if the Mets come away with the season series, I think the answer is very clearly the Mets played the Dodgers a little bit better than the Yankees played the Dodgers as far as recent history goes. I just think the NL, I think you're more likely to get picked off in the NL because I just think the NL teams overall are stronger. I think they could be into game 162, not knowing whether they're winning the division or going to a wild card, as we saw with the Mets and Braves and how that whole thing figured out. You don't know what city you're going to next. That can affect your psyche. You have to go through a division winner in the NL if you're a wild card winner in the NL Central, most likely. So that changes the whole game. I don't think the Yankees have to deal with that. So I think the likelihood is that they get picked off before they get to the World Series. If they get to the World Series, I don't think anybody from the AL can pick them off.
Yeah, I think at this exact juncture, I do say push, and there's reasons to go for both teams. I mean, the Mets, again, have a little bit of the better recent history. They played the Dodgers pretty well in the NLCS, and a lot of high-scoring wins both ways for the Dodgers, for the Mets that series. I love what the Mets have done with the pitching staff. On the flip side, look at the Yankees. If you're going to have an ace pitching 2 games, I trust Max Fried over a Senga, over a Minaya. Nothing against those guys. Great pitchers. Glad they're on my team. I just think Max Fried gives you the best chance in 2 games in a 7-game series. I think if I stick true to saying it's a push, I'm going to say it's a flip of the coin, and that coin flip's going to be Aaron Judge. Are you getting the typical postseason Aaron Judge, which is a career postseason OPS almost 300 points lower than his regular season OPS. And that's not over a small sample size. He has 262 plate appearances in the postseason. That's a nice chunk. 300 points less than his regular season OPS. So if Aaron Judge is going into the postseason and continues that, I mean, it's hard to maintain almost video game-like numbers, but if he's putting that up plus Max Fried, I give the advantage to the Yankees. If he's not putting up those numbers and regresses to the 200 career average he has in the postseason, I might give the slight advantage to the Mets just because they have a couple of guys like a Soto, like an Alonso, like Lindor, who could hit a home run at any given moment. I think it's a coin flip right now with Aaron Judge being the coin.
Question for the group. Would you say over the last 4 years, the Dodgers have been the best team in baseball?
Yes.
Easy question.
Best organization, yes.
Yeah.
They've won one World Series. Listen, that
Sure.
team, yes, they ran through a gauntlet and pantsed the Yankees. The Yankees pantsed the World Series. I said 4 years because 2020 is also like whatever. They're in the preseason conversation every year. I know they only won one, but how many other teams in baseball have won two within a 5-year time period? My point is they choke in the World Series and in the playoffs plenty. This idea that the Dodgers are like unassailable, I just don't agree with it. I think anyone in the NL can pick them off. I think the Yankees could pick them off in the World Series. I think potentially, I don't know if the Tigers are quite ready to pick them off, but I don't think it's this like, oh my God, it's gonna take a Herculean effort. The Dodgers choke all the time.
Oh,
they didn't choke last year, but look, every year going into it, they've been bad.
But Tom, they've won two this decade, which is the most in baseball. I know we discount 2020, but they also added probably the first or second best player in all of baseball in Ohtani since then. And what they do when they added Ohtani, they won the World Series.
Yeah, but they also run through pitchers. Like I don't want.
No, I agree. I mean,
with their pitching staff is
there are flaws in that team.
Decimate.
But the 5 hitters, there is no, and I say this seriously, there is no team in baseball that can match their hitters 1-5. That Ohtani, that's
my point is
Teoscar and Will Smith are the best 5 in all of baseball, bar none.
My point is the Dodgers are great. We know that. But they can be beat. They have been beat. They've been beat before. I mean, they added Ohtani last year. Ohtani stunk in the World Series.
And like, it's not like won.
Yeah, because the Yankees absolutely vomited all over themselves, worse than Teddy does at 3 a.m. Like that's the Yankees just embarrassed themselves. They couldn't catch the ball. They couldn't make the right moves. I think the Yankees could have won that World Series if they just played fundamental baseball and made fundamental decisions.
Well, they didn't lose games 2 and 3 because they didn't play fundamental baseball. Those 2 games were won pretty.
The Yankees should have won game 1. The Yankees should have won. We're going to relitigate this. They should have won game 1. That Soto
there's 2 games they should have won.
Soto made 2 horrible plays in right field. You have the decision with Nestor and Tim Hill. Yeah, if Nestor gets Freeman out there, the Yankees at the end of the game, the Yankees win.
Yeah, they weren't getting him out there.
Yeah,
I always look back. I know it's an all-time.
You're acting like you should get Freeman out. Freeman's one of the great hitters.
He got Ohtani out. My point is the Dodgers can be beat. And I just don't like this idea that we act like they are just like God's gift to baseball and they're just like unbeatable. But they're not.
I do think it is the organization that everybody else is chasing. Everybody,
sure.
The Dodgers. I think the Dodgers, and this might sound crazy, but the Dodgers, I think, have supplanted the Yankees and the Astros as the big bad in baseball.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I would say.
It is 2 I was wrong. There was 2 championships. I forgot about 2020. The 2 championships.
That doesn't count.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. It would have counted for us, too, if we would have won. So, so much for that. But, anyway, shout out to the room here. We got a few more chatters just came in here. Speaking of Dodgers fan Vic, hello. Kristen in the building as well. Shout out to you. Corey Favs goes the Rockies. Nobody has successfully done it dead for that long. I guess based on that notion. But yeah, no, it's it'll be interesting when we get there. I do think these 2 teams. Well, hell, I even say the Dodgers. The 3 teams aren't fully complete. The Dodgers are missing Mookie Betts, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow. The Mets are going into this series without one of their big-time starting pitchers. I'm sure there's a couple moves on the docket for them mid-season. The Yankees are still trying to figure out their second base, third base thing. There's a rumor that it looks like Jazz Chisholm's coming back as a third baseman, something I don't really agree with myself. Giancarlo Stanton's on his way back. So these teams aren't even complete yet. So it's going to be more of a fluid conversation when we get to that point come September, October. Well, we're going to get to, and just a quick, because we forgot to do this for the Yankees' sake on the schedule. We were just jumping around between both teams there. Off day today, Guardians for the next 3. And then the Yankees finally face the Boston Red Sox, Thomas, this weekend. I know Boston has not really been playing good ball. So you'd love to at least take 2 of 3 against Boston, but Boston's going to play, mid-2000s baseball against the Yankees like they always do year after year.
I'm just going to I kind of want to just copy what Corey always says when he looks at the schedule and just play it here. Just win both series. Win 2 out of 3 of both of these. The Red Sox bring the worst / best out in the Yankees, no matter how bad either team is. But they have been faltering. Just, keep throwing dirt on them. And Cleveland, listen, they're another team that you want to, you think there's a chance you might see them in the playoffs as well. Let's, win that series. Just get back to winning ways. Okay, let's put this weekend behind us. Let's go back to winning series.
All right, let's talk about Instagram. With Instagram, as always, is the father of all the Instagram reels. He does a great job over there. Corey Favs, take it away.
I appreciate that. Go ahead and follow at Empire State of Baseball on Instagram. You'll find all our archived segments, all our meme reels, graphics from the show, you name it, you'll find it on the gram. And you can also follow us individually. Myself at Corey Favs, Joe at JR Pugs, Rich at Rich J. Rivera, and Tom at T. Wospil. Go ahead and enter that follower count. We're at 7,100 and growing. So please go ahead and give us a follow if you're not already.
All righty, let's get into our fantasy baseball league. Let's pull up those standings. I hate pulling these standings up, every other week because I'm just sinking lower and lower and lower and lower. I'm hanging out with Keith and Chris in the bottom third club there. But it's been very interesting though. Looking at the top 2, there's been a lot of switching between Core and Chooch. Core now up 101.5.
Why are we just looking at the top 2?
I'm sorry.
Why are we just looking at the top 2?
Because Free Ipe is in third place. I mean, these two have been flipping. I haven't seen you crack the top 2 at any point here, Thomas.
I've been in the top 2. I've snuck in there. I've snuck in there at times
for a half hour.
I'm sorry, Joe. Where are you at? Let me see. I am almost. Yeah, I am
Yankee haters.
Hey, my OPS is climbing. We're gonna be out of the cellar very shortly. Mike Trout just came back.
Oh, we're oh boy, we're counting on as someone who owned Mike Trout in a dynasty league for years. Let me tell you, you can have fun just hoping that it's gonna work out for you.
I got Trout.
Hey, he's got a home run and 3 RBIs tonight, so that's gonna bump me up.
Sure.
Yeah, big time. I just wanted to, we're looking around here to the teams, and I had to put Nathan Eovaldi, unfortunately, on the IL, who's out with a triceps injury. Hopefully, not too long that he's going to be out. But when you guys look at your team, and listen, this may not apply to everybody in here. You could be running healthy organizations. Has there been an injury to your fantasy baseball team that's really hurt your squad this year? Corey Favs, you want to start?
To me, it was Yordan Alvarez, and he wasn't really producing Yordan numbers before he got hurt, and now he's been out for a while. So I hope when he does come back, he puts up the numbers I expected out of a second-round draft pick.
Joe?
Yeah, Trout. I mean, offense is my weak point at this point. So Trout being back right now and producing is going to be big for my team. I needed an outfielder, and that's where it is.
I don't think you could say that Trout being injured is something you couldn't have seen coming, but I digress.
There you go. Tom, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't dealt with it as terribly. I'll say Logan Gilbert. He's really he hasn't pitched since April. Well, yeah, April, the end of April, and wasn't. It was limited action up until that point. So I think he's still – they have his estimated return date is coming up. Looks like he threw in AAA. So that looks good. Could use a little bit of help on the pitching front. So that's what we got injury-wise on the Free Ipe squad.
Joe, am I supposed to look like a private chat or something? What do you
No,
mean?
I don't know what Tom was looking at. Tom's looking down at his shoe.
I was looking at the.
Oh, he's looking at a
the
thing. You should be able to tell it's reflecting off his sunglasses in a
We're
dark
looking at
room
Logan
right
Gilbert here. There he is.
Yeah.
We're just
Hey,
seeing what's going on.
I mean, listen, credit to Seattle. Like, Seattle was able to play ball at still a top level in the West without Logan Gilbert and George Kirby for the most part. So, I mean, that's actually more of a credit to their offense, believe it or not, which they've lacked in. Cal Raleigh, I don't know what the hell's going on over there. Cal Raleigh, I love the guy, but I think they have to test Cal Raleigh. I mean, it's actually getting ridiculous how good he's been.
I still don't understand how you guys let me get him as like the seventh.
I didn't want to. I've been singing his praises for guys ever since we did the catcher rankings. I was singing his praises, saying we did a disservice to Cal Raleigh not having him number one. Well, we voted Adley Rushman and William Contreras in there, and I was like, Cal's the number one catcher, and he's proven it.
With Cal and Shohei on my team, you guys are not catching me at homers. It's just not happening.
For me, now outside of Eovaldi, who had just placed on the IL, but again, he's not going to be out for long. I would say Tyler Glasnow, since I did draft him, Glasnow. But again, more to the Mike Trout thing. Should I have been surprised that he was going to get on the IL? Is land on the IL? No, because this is Tyler Glasnow in a nutshell. But yeah, it'd been nice to have Glasnow for the first 2 months of the season. So. It is what it is there. Joe, let's talk about YouTube, and then we're going to get over to our favorite segment, the New York Strike Exchange.
Yes, we are live on Instagram and X, but YouTube is our preferred platform. Why? Because we can interact with you guys in the chat. You can be part of the show. You can be brought up. You can ask us questions, things like that we can respond to. So join us over on YouTube at Empire State of Baseball. We have 470 subscribers. We're on the road to 500. Once we get to 500, we're going to do a giveaway. So do yourself a favor. Share it with somebody you know is not subscribed. Go over, subscribe. It's free. And again, we'll do a giveaway. Last time we gave up a pair of autographed cards. I think one was a Brett Beatty card and the other was an Oswald Peraza card. So might have been a nicer gift. Might not have ended up as a nicest gift as intended. But the Brett Beatty card's nice, and they were autographed and they were numbered, so that was good. So we're getting
shout out to That's Baseball Erica, who probably threw that Peraza card right in the fireplace.
So we're gonna give away something that's cool and that's team related. So make sure you subscribe, help us out. And like I said, we're trying to get to 500, and that would be a big goal of ours.
It was actually, this stage of this channel, I would call humble beginnings. It's nice every time we hit the 10 mark of any subscriber. I mean, there's definitely accounts out there that, they're getting 10 in within a minute span. We're out here and we're still in the very adolescent stages of this thing. So it was nice to see us get to 470. That means you're getting closer to 475, which means you're getting closer to 500. And I mean, a couple of years ago, Joe, Corey, Tom, I didn't even think 500 was possible. And we're staring down 500. It's getting closer and closer. So it's nice to see. Shout out to the chat here. Chris in the building. He said my Elton John comment might be top 5. Did I miss the Elton John comment? Yeah. Oh, here we go. Shout out to the Lehigh Valley legends. Someone's got to be the bottom. Ask Elton John. Oh my God! In this month of all months, that's crazy. All righty. And I want a Rich Rivera autograph. I can easily do that, Cam. I can easily do that for you, sir. All righty. Let's and Fook Boston. All right. Let's get into the New York Strike Exchange. And we're gonna kick this off with our fives, our bottom 5, our top 5. So with our Bear list, Corey Favs, kick us off. What do we got going on for the Bears list this time around?
Yeah, looking at our bottom 5 Bears here. Jose Budo, that's a household name in the 5th spot. Not the best of weeks, 2 weeks, I should say, 7.20 ERA, a nice FIP of 5.28. So not the best. He actually did have a better outing yesterday or the day prior, but overall not a good 2-week period. Will Warren was actually doing a little better. Didn't have the best of starts in his second to last start and got absolutely demolished this past weekend. What do you have? 7 runs over an inning and a third or 2/3, something like that. So that was enough to warrant getting on the Bears list. Griffin Canning, Really unfortunate to end up here in the 3 spot on the Bears list because he's been a very nice story, and we were singing his praises the last couple of weeks. But ultimately, you knew he was going to hit a little bit of a wall at some point. Not saying he's going to stay here forever, but not the best 2-week period. 6 earned runs, 9.53 ERA over only 5 2/3 innings pitched. So that's not too good. Oswald Peraza, 133 average, 235 on base percentage, a 535 OPS. That OPS is not going to cut it. And you want to talk about an OPS that's not going to cut it? Francisco Alvarez. That's supposed to be your power hitting catcher. Supposed to be a future, a future staple of the Mets lineup. Has not had a good year this year so far. 529 OPS over the last 2 weeks. Hopefully, I keep saying to myself, I hope he's going to break out soon. Maybe this is the week. Maybe we'll finally see a couple of home runs. I don't know. The power's not there, swinging at bad pitches. He's getting a couple of singles here and there, but we're not paying him to get you a couple of singles. This is the guy that was supposed to be a power hitter, guy who could hit 30 bombs behind the plate, and we're just not seeing that. So he tops the Bears list for this week.
Before I throw it to Joe and Tom for their reaction on the Bears list, I just want to make this note. So that equal sign that you see next to Oswald Peraza's name, it just reminded that he was number 2 2 weeks ago. He's number 2 this week. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense because he is a number 2. He is a pile of shit. And I can't wait for the New York Yankees to find the guy, and it could be as soon as Jazz Chisholm, to replace this dork on the team. I've had enough of his highly touted defense. I had enough of his, he didn't get enough opportunity. The guy sucks. He needs to go. Go, take it away. Say something stupid.
Yeah, I'll touch on Griffin Cannon for a second. The 5 2/3 is a little deceiving. He did have a rain-shortened start.
Sure.
In this against the Dodgers. He did give up 3 runs in that start in 2 2/3, but the third inning that he gave up the 3 runs, it started pouring as the poor guy was pitching, and that obviously led to some control issues. He walked 3 batters in that inning because he couldn't hold on to the ball. So I almost feel bad putting Cannon on the list because there's a little asterisk next to the fact that he didn't really get a fair shake in one of the starts, being as a rain out. But he definitely wasn't good his last time out. And so we'll see how he rebounds going forward. I'm a little worried that's gotten him off kilter. He's only pitched 5 2/3 over the past 2 weeks. So hopefully he gets back to a little bit back to what he was doing, and we see a better Griffin Cannon going forward.
Yeah, and Tom, I don't know if you wanted to touch on Will Warren here, who's back on the Bear list.
I didn't, but I want to bring up a different point, though. Okay. Chat and everyone, I want you to take a look at the top 2 Bears here. I want to look at Francisco Alvarez and Oswald Peraza. Both former top prospects in both organizations. Both are guys who had bright futures ahead of them, who 3 years ago, 4 years ago, if they were in a trade package, you would always say, no, we can't. We can't give up Alvarez. We can't give up Peraza. And listen, Francisco Alvarez, he still might turn into something. Peraza doesn't look like he's going to be turning into much. I just want you to all remember that heading into the trade deadline, when you're going to want to you want to improve these teams. Both of our teams are World Series aspirational teams, and you're going to look at, we can't trade an Arias. We can't trade a Spencer Jones. We can't trade a George Lombard Jr. Listen, chances are all 3 of those guys are going to suck, right? This like law averages, they're all going to suck. They do. Prospects don't typically work out, guys. It doesn't happen. So
let's go Patriots.
Just keep in mind, and look, I love mining ball. Mining ball is a lot of fun, but listen, when we talk trades, and it seems like teams are quote unquote overpaying. Just keep in mind that most of these guys don't work out, and it's okay to part with them. So and on that side, I know they got Mauricio. I know there's other guys there as well that I'm not as familiar with, and I know Mets fans will coil at the idea of them being in a trade to get a number 2 starting pitcher for this team. It's probably worth it.
I mean, there used to be content creators on this app that would tell me otherwise, and why the Yankees should keep every single prospect they have, despite the fact that their farm system has been dog shit over the last few years.
Listen,
so I'm sorry.
They produce some good stuff, though.
It comes down to it, Tom, what I was just going to mention. Yeah, they produce some good stuff, but I'm sorry, some good stuff with a closing window when you don't know how much of Aaron Judge's prime you have left. When you don't know, Garrett Cole's prime might have been shut down the moment he went for TJ. Now, luckily, you have Max Fried in the mix to kind of help you out there. But I'm sorry, a player that's going to help me in 2028 does not matter to me come the midseason deadline. And if that means the Yankees are going to take a great team to a World Series team, I'm cutting bait with about anybody who's in the farm system, hasn't made a major league debut yet, because the chances are the stock is still pretty damn high to send them out anyway. And honestly, for you guys on the other side too, Joe and Corey, I know there's a lot of great Mets prospects that we're looking forward to that we talked about on segments like On the Way Up. You guys haven't won since '86. If it means taking your great team to a World Series team this year, I'm sorry, you got to trade Brandon Sprout. You got to trade Waddle. You got to trade Jet Williams to get closer. Am I wrong in that? By that statement?
Yeah, you're not wrong. And it just depends. The only thing I want to say, it just depends on the deal and the situation. I mean, right now, you look at the Metropolitans, they're coming off an NLCS trip. You're trying to go back there and further. It's a team that only has a couple of holes on paper. If you're filling out one of those holes, you go for it. For the right situation, you go for it. Yeah. You just don't want a situation like 2021 giving up at that point in time. I think he was like a top 5 or top 10 prospect, and Pete Crow Armstrong for a rental and Baez.
Well, that
depends on the situation.
That was also a lost season, but I think in the Mets case, the Mets have strength in common position, right? Jet Williams is a middle infielder. Ronnie Mauricio is a middle infielder. Brett Beatty's an infielder that can now play second base and third base.
Lindor's not going anywhere, so they're all back. None of them are playing shortstop.
All of these guys can't be in the lineup at the same time, so trading from a strength that the Mets have, which is middle infield at this moment, makes sense. So if they get the right deal and can bring in a top tier pitcher, it's never going to happen. Somebody brought up the Paul Skeens theoretical trades where the Mets would give up top 4 prospects in the organization. And I said, what do you want? Uber or Lyft to the airport? The answer is absolutely yes. You would trade every single one of them in a heartbeat. Yeah. But it has to be the right move. It has to be the right trade. Somebody mentioned the Red Sox have Jared Duran. And I asked the question to my Met fans, would you trade Brandon Sprout, your number 2 pitcher prospect, for Jared Duran if the Red Sox made him available? And I said, does he want to ride to the airport on my back, or does he want to take his own Uber? Like, what are we doing here? So
we're going to transition over to the Bulls list, and Thomas, let's keep that energy up, because let's go to you. Read down our Bulls list here.
Let's go to the Aaron Judge list. We'll start at number 5 with Edwin Diaz. Very good, solid week effort. In the closer's role, can't ask a lot more. 6 innings pitched, 3 saves, no earned runs. That sounds pretty good. 11 Ks. So almost 2 strikeouts an inning. Edwin Diaz looking like the bad man that he has been in the past. Number 4, Ryan Yarbrough. And listen, I mean, maybe it's tough. It's tough. Listen, I think I had him 4 on my list as well. He had a huge start yesterday. And he's had good numbers. He had 3 starts over this stretch here, and he's been very good in all of them. And when you consider what the Yankees would have thought you're going to get out of Ryan Yarbrough this year, for him to make this list is incredible, and he's been great. Number 3, we have Francisco Lindor, who I think I said last time on the Bulls list, he just constantly puts up numbies. That's just what he does. He just puts up numbers. He constantly is. He just fills out the stat page. He really does. He's a great player. I think he's the easiest Met for a Yankee fan to root for. Lindor rules. And he's always great. Number 2, to Joe's chagrin, is Carlos Rodon, 2-0. We got 13 innings at a 6 inning effort, a 7 inning effort. No earned runs. Again, that's pretty good. 18 strikeouts, more than a strikeout inning. That's pretty good. You love that out of Carlos Rodon. And number 1, frankly, like the slumping Aaron Judge, only hitting 350, only a 1.2 OPS. 6 homers is nice. 9 walks, 9 RBIs. We are just truly living on the Aaron Judge Bull list, and that's what we got here.
Corey Favs, when looking at the Bulls list here, or as Tom mentioned before, the Aaron Judge list out of the Mets here, any surprises on who made the Bull list or who maybe didn't make this Bulls list?
I actually think it's a fair list. I like the 1 through 5 from the Mets standpoint. You can make the case for David Peterson, but it's hard to bump out one of these guys. Obviously, Judge ain't going anywhere. Rodon with 18 Ks and 0 earned runs over 13 innings. He's not going anywhere. Yarbrough, again, he's not going anywhere. His numbers are about the same. And with a lesser pedigree, you would think, considering the matchup, Dodgers, everything.
Well, he also pitched an extra game.
Correct. Lindor, 949 OPS, and Edwin Diaz has been perfect lights out. Mr. Mike Parziali, where are you in the chat tonight that Edwin Diaz is a bust? It's hard to get Peterson in there, so I think we nailed this Bulls list.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the extra game, Tom, because I seem to remember a conversation last Bulls and Bears list where you criticized us for having Kodai Senga at the top for having a 0 earned run average in 2 games, when 3 games, Max Fried ended up below him. So what you reversed course now. You had Rodon at the top instead of Yarbrough and Peterson. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing.
I don't know what Tom had, but I stuck to my guns here. And Tom, I know you're gonna go in on Joe here, right? But I did have Yarbrough over Rodon. But go ahead, Thomas.
I mean, listen, Rodon had a better 2-week stretch. I know, like, it's awesome where Yarbrough's done it, and obviously the pedigree is they're not the same guy. Expect us out of Yarbrough, but I mean Rodon, I just think he provided more. I think I had them back to back on my list. I think I had Lindor third. I think I had Rodon third. I think I had Lindor second, and then Rodon and Yarbrough 3-4 one way or the other. So I basically had them right there. But
we had this huge conversation, and you were like, "Oh, Senga doesn't deserve to be where he is with a 0 ERA." Now it's the other way around, and you don't have nothing to say to that. So I'm just saying, let's be consistent, Thomas.
I have no recollection of what you're bringing up here.
I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you don't.
You know what? Truly don't.
I'm selective.
Listen. You won't believe how quickly I forget about this show the second we turn the camera off. It just we go back into a different world. David Peterson had a really good.
You know what? I'm going to
a really good stretch
for you, Thomas. So it's going to be front and center in your mind, and I'll post it. I'll post the clip.
Probably won't watch it.
Post this one of you having selective amnesia.
I probably won't.
Yarbrough should have listed over Rodon here, and I am going to be consistent. Unlike my co-host Thomas here, I'm going to give Yarbrough the credit for having the 3rd extra game. I'm going to give Yarbrough credit for having extra Ks in there. Yeah, the 5th isn't where you want it there. I don't know why I couldn't pull the whip for the last few weeks. I don't know what the hell happened there, but I pulled 5th. Yarbrough, to me, and also looking at the opponents he had faced, I think to me deserved the higher spot over Rodon, despite the fact that Rodon hadn't allowed a run across those 2 games. So I was giving Yarbrough the credit there at number 2. That was not the case. He lands at number 4. But yeah, I actually do think David Peterson got done a little dirty, surprisingly. I can't believe we can campaign for a Met here. I think Peterson should have cracked the list. He had a 2.03 ERA over the last 2 games.
Over who?
13 and 3rd, and he's pitched 12 Ks. I think that should have got him in here.
Over who?
It was close. He had a very similar line to Yarbrough. And I think the thing with
Yarbrough pitched an extra game and had a lower ERA. And pitched against the Dodgers after the Yankees got their absolute embarrassed on Saturday.
I probably would have given it to him over Diaz, my personal thing. And I know Diaz.
The only thing I would
honestly, the Mets had a better relief pitcher line over the last 2 weeks today. Garrett was the better pitcher over the last 2 weeks.
One of Peterson's games was against the Rockies, so that doesn't count.
I also want to give Diaz credit. Hitters are 0 for the last 32 against Edwin Diaz. Diaz has pitched a no-hitter plus in his last 12 outings. So I got to be fair. I got to get Diaz. I think we had to get Diaz on this list because he's been that
good. We had to get Diaz on the list because you invested in him, Joe. That's why we had to get Diaz on the fucking list. Come
on. We got to be fair. We got to be fair to him.
I'll defend Diaz too. Because I mean, if you're a closer and you're putting up perfect numbers, averaging almost 2 Ks an inning, you're getting every single save opportunity, converting it. It's if Diaz didn't crack the Bears list, I don't know what output from a closer would have warranted a Bulls list.
He's got a no-hitter through his last 32.
Correct. I actually had Diaz higher. I had Diaz as my third. I did get the Reed Garrett vote too, because Reed Garrett's right up there. I think me and Rich both had a 6 vote, our honorable mention vote to Reed Garrett.
The challenge with relievers is they just I understand like a closer closes games. He pitches, typically 1 inning at a time. They just don't put up as much numbers. They don't pitch as much. It's hard for me personally to say Edwin Diaz pitching 6 innings, right? 6 innings to his right 6 and a third. Is that what it was?
Something like that.
To compare that to someone who pitched 17 innings or 13 innings. And that's not Diaz's fault. It's when you're looking at like who really contributed the most. I mean, it's just tough.
All right, so we're at the 9 o'clock hour. Thanks for everybody checking in. That is the Bulls and Bears portion of the New York Strike Exchange, but we're not done because we got to get, of course, to now our newest favorite segment of the NYSC. That is the trading floor. So let's sound that opening bell and get this damn thing going. It is now time for our NYSC trading floor. And Joe, why don't you remind the folks at home the rules once again, as we're still new into this segment.
Yeah, so welcome to the trading floor. Following the New York Strike Exchange each week, the host will choose to invest in players that they will make in the top 5 Bulls list for the next set of rankings in 2 weeks from now. Overlap choices are allowed, so we're allowed to pick the same players. The currency of the trading floor is ESB bucks. Each host started the year with 150 ESB bucks. Each player will gain based on whether they're on the Bulls and Bears list in the week. So if you're the top Bear of the week, you're going to lose 50% of your value. If you're the top Bull of the week, you'll gain 50% of your value. Right. All the players started at 50. This is how we did it. We started on May 1st. So this is how we're doing it. We're basically trying to get a value for our New York Strike Exchange of what these players are worth. And by making good choices, by buying low, selling high, you can invest in better players as the year goes on. So let's get to the trading floor.
Let's take a look at the numbers, though, Joe, before we get into it, and let's see if our host can try to. And we'll throw this up as we're making our investment decisions. But as you can tell, Aaron Judge, with the numerous number ones and even a number 2 spot from previous weeks, he's up to 157.50 on his ESB bucks. Francisco Lindor has placed a couple times on our top 5. He's at 84.5. And then when you scale down to the bottom, and granted, all those 50s just mean those are the players that haven't been featured on either list since we started this thing. So they're all still worth 50 to purchase. And these are the bottom feeders. Look at stupid ass Oswald Peraza, only worth 18 ESB bucks. But that, he's there. Warren, who's been on the list multiple times, but then Alvarez, who just cracked the list, he was at 50. He drops down to 25 because again, he loses 50% of his value. So he's worth now 25 ESB bucks. And as we did it last week, boys, we're going to go investor to investor here as we break this thing down. Corey Favs, we're going to start with you and let's take a look. So from your last time out, you decided that you were going to hold on to your stock of Juan Soto, you were going to hold on to your stock of Luke Weaver, and you were also going to gain Paul Goldschmidt. I forgot who you previously had, but you sold the player you had and moved on to Goldschmidt here. And obviously none of these 3 guys placed on either list. So, bad that they didn't place on the Bulls list, but good that they didn't place on the Bears list. So as you have it right here, you're coming in with 0 ESB bucks. If you decide to hold all your stocks, so be it, but you could also sell these stocks and gain a fresh new trio here of players that are worth 50 ESB bucks. How do you want to take this one, bud?
Yeah, I'm going to hold Soto. It had a very nice weekend, especially going to Coors Field later this week. A little chance to maybe inflate his numbers a little bit. So I'm holding on to Soto. I think I'm going to definitely sell Weaver. We don't know what's going to happen with the hamstring injury. I don't think they formally announced anything yet, right? He's still getting imaging. Weaver,
still unknown with Luke.
Still
Weaver.
unknown. So I don't like unknowns when it comes to investing. So I'm going to sell Weaver. I'm actually going to invest it in another Yankee at a slight discount, and I think he has a chance at 3 starts. It might just be 2, but at a slight discount, I'm going to get Clark Schmidt. I think I saw him at like 40 or 45. Yes.
Clark Schmidt is 35, so that definitely works. So Clark Schmidt.
Oh, even better.
35.
So I'll go ahead and do that. Clark Schmidt at 35, and I'm actually going to double down and try to take advantage of some pitching stock that hit a little bit of a roadblock. We were talking about Griffin Canning earlier. He was a bull at some point early in the season. So I'm going to sell the Goldschmidt share. And I like Goldschmidt. He's a gamer. But, he has to basically hit it at a 400 clip to make a Bulls list because he doesn't really have the power anymore. So I'm going to go for Griffin Canning. And we were just talking about him. Hit an unfortunate stretch the last 2 weeks. He was a former Bull at some point in time. So I'm going to take the discounted price and try to turn a profit on two good value pitchers.
So if my math checks out here, Joe, so he's 35 for Schmidt, 35 for Canning. That's 70 total. Add Soto, that's 120. So that leaves Corey with 30 ESB bucks after it's all said and done. So
30
there you go. So you got 30 in the bank, and you're holding on to Soto, selling Weaver and Goldie, and now taking on Clark Schmidt and Griffin Canning, who cost less than the base value. So there you go. Very good. All right, this is a lot smoother already. Joe, go ahead. Let's take a look at your investments. Obviously, you had a win here. This is one of our first 2 wins of the trading floor. That was Edwin Diaz, who plays 5th. So you gain 5 more ESB bucks. So now he's worth 55 if you want to sell him. You also have Soto that you're holding for 50. Now, the Devin Williams number is incorrect. You did buy him at a discount at 40, so it's actually 40 there. So how are you going to treat this one this time around?
Yeah, so at the moment, I'm going to hold Soto. I'm going to hold on to Williams because now with the Weaver injury at a discount of 40, if Williams makes the Bulls list, that's going to be a nice payoff for me. Edwin Diaz did increase in value. I will probably sell him and bank the $5 I've made there. I'm going to look, and I'm going to actually go with
Soto and Williams give you 90, and now if you're adding,
he's keeping Williams.
Right, he's keeping Williams, he's keeping Soto, and again,
I'm going to sell Diaz for 55.
So Joe has 65 to play with.
So I have 65 to play with.
That's what I want to. Yep.
Can you put up the top ones? Let's see.
Oh, there's a Met that's literally 65 on the dot.
There is a Met that's 65 on the dot. But I'm going to put 60 into Pete Alonso. I think Pete Alonso is going to have a big week. We're going into Coors Field. That's a home run hitter's park. I like Pete Alonso, who's starting to percolate again. So let me reinvest into Pete Alonso. So that should give me $5 left on the side with Pete Alonso at 60, replacing Edwin Diaz.
Actually, wouldn't it be more technically? Wouldn't it be 15? Because it's 5. 15. It's 5 with Diaz, and I think it's 10 because Williams was initially 40. No?
Devin Williams has nothing. Devin Williams is irrelevant right now.
Okay.
I have 10. I sold him for 55, so I have 65 total. 65. And then I bought Pete for 60.
Right. Okay. I got it now. All right. So we're good there. Okay. So you're holding Soto, holding Williams, and taking on Pete. All right. Thomas, let's move over to you. Thomas, you kept it to this 2 this time, and you banked pretty good on Francisco Lindor because he cracked the list. He's now valued up to 84.5. You were already banking 35 ESB bucks going into it. So what's the call here with your players?
It's tough. I have a thought of what
I know what he's going to do.
We have that same thought too.
I know what he's going to do.
We have that same thought too.
He's
a dangerous move.
But like a goon.
It's a dangerous move, but it's there. And just for those who are not understanding the context, he does have.
Let's roll it. We're selling everything. We're buying Aaron Judge.
There it is. All right. So
I love Lindor. Listen, I don't want to get rid of Lindor. 50, frankly, 35. If I had the option to sell Soto and buy 2 Lindors, I probably would do that. But that's not an option. So I'm selling it all. I'm buying Aaron Judge, which then leaves me with
12.
Let's see.
12. Leaves you 12. 12 ESB.
I can't do anything with 12.
You can buy Peraza, can you?
Well, no, he cannot. Peraza doesn't suck that much yet, but he'll get there. He'll get there. He'll be worth 12 next week.
We're gonna do that. Give me Aaron Judge.
Woo! Tom goes all
Tom
in on the one stock.
I had to read this one.
Man. Have fun with your penny stocks.
Aaron Judge to the Bears list to follow next week.
I know. Me, Joe, and Corey about to conspire to get him on there. All right,
you imagine.
And finally, I mean, that insider trading is illegal, especially in the NYSE, the trading floor. That is. All right, so Dominguez, Holmes, Soto. I've been
Rich. You couldn't afford Aaron Judge. I don't want to hear it.
No,
I've been pretty
Tom was
boring
the only
with
one who
this.
could afford that.
I'm like Joe and Corey. I'm gonna hold on to Soto there. I'm gonna hold on to Soto. I'm gonna stick to my strategy here and just hope that one of my standards finally hits a list here. I'm gonna go with a New York Met. I'm gonna go with David Peterson. I think David Peterson is bound to crack one of these lists. So I will swap out Clay Holmes for David Peterson here, fellas. And then because I need to add a Yankee here, the Dominguez thumb contusion, although he doesn't seem worried, I'm a little bit worried in the same way Corey was worried about Luke Weaver. So I'm going to sell Jason Dominguez here. And I'm going to purchase Paul Goldschmidt. So I'm going to reinvest in Paul Goldschmidt, which I did a couple of weeks ago. We'll go Goldie here. So I got Goldie, Soto, and David Peterson for the next time around. And I'm back down to 0 ESB bucks. So there you have it. So Tom, only took you, 4 weeks, and you finally got Aaron Judge by taking a chance on a couple of Mets. You trade out Lindor and Soto for Aaron Judge, which I think is a fair trade from a stock standpoint.
Yeah, and with my $12 left, I'm probably not going to be able to make any trades the rest of the year. So we're just going to be hanging.
Not one bit. Not one bit. Again, unless Oswald Peraza dumps down to whatever he is up to now, 10. Guy stinks. All righty. Well, on that note, let's quickly get through our X spot here and just make sure to follow us on our main page at ESB Podcast, our subsidiary accounts at ESB NYM for Mets coverage, Corey and Joe behind that account, ESB NYY, which me, Tom, and a whole circus of folks are behind because we also have our space that airs Monday through Friday, known as A Bronx Take, that airs at 1 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, only at night at 5 o'clock. That's Wednesday. And a shout out to my co-hosts, Sierra, Boogie, and Chris. You can give them all a follow at Boogie Dan NYY, at Chris Nieves 618, and at Sierra Not Miss, all on X. So make sure to check out A Bronx Take. And then following today's show, we're also going to have another edition of Extra Innings. So you guys can come in and give and read Joe the rights as you typically do after our shows are done. And we'll talk about some of the investments and ask you guys, who would you invest in towards the next Bulls and Bears list, which will be revealed on June the 16th. Okay, let's get into the game. And the game is, of course, Guess the Graph. So Guess the Graph. And before we get there, Joe in the lead at 12. Corey and your boy are tied at 8, and Tom at 7. And with our Guess the Graph ball, our first one of 2, we're going to throw it over to our guy, Joe. So, Joe, let's see what you brought here to the table.
Okay. This player played for the New York Mets.
Hi, Wingington.
I said it first. Give it to me.
That was as tie as it gets, in my opinion.
It was not. I said it before, Corey. I absolutely did.
Chat.
It is Ty Wigginton.
Chat.
I'd say a tie. I say we got to have.
There's no way. There's no way. Corey. I love you. I love you more than the rest of this crew combined.
Liar.
No, I mean, I like Corey more than I like you or
play
Joe.
that back. We got the recording.
Chat, who had it? Did Tom have it? I'm going to check the replay later, but Corey or Tom, chat, who had it? Jack says Tom. So we'll check the replay. We'll go to New York. One of these will not get ejected from a game like Taylor Walls did yesterday. And we'll find out.
You're trying to throw a TW past me. It's not gonna happen.
Who had it between Corey and Tom? But guess what? You know what? None of you guys are gonna have this next one because I have the next autograph. All right. And of course,
private chat
here. We're gonna start here, and this is a former New York Yankee,
Phil Hughes.
Incorrect.
Oh God! It said 65 and everything. I think it's a 65.
I mean, it might not be. So
God,
just throwing that out there.
Felt so good.
But no, great guess. Love that guess. And I can finally play the clock here. So we already have a K for Tom right out of the gate.
I see how you could. I see the Phil Hughes.
It actually looks like Phil Hughes' autograph too. I have Phil.
Is that Nestor Cortez? Wasn't he?
Incorrect.
Ooh,
Incorrect.
God, another 65. I think.
Now you got me thinking 65.
Guys, it might not be a 65, but I'll say I do like the position you guys keep throwing out there. Nothing from the chat yet. I am the only one who can check the chat at this point. And guys, make sure to stay tuned after this game. I know we're running a little late, but we got a special announcement that is in regards to next week's show. So stay on with us, please. Corey, anything? You haven't taken a guess yet.
Domingo Germán?
Domingo Germán is incorrect.
Oh, I'm just trying to think of.
I like the position we're throwing out, though. I don't think I need to give more than that right now. This is. I'll throw one more. I'll throw this one. This is an inactive player. Although I think all the guests have gotten so far. Oh, no, except for Nestor. No, he's active still. And nobody wants Domingo Germán.
I like Tom.
Nothing correct from the chat.
I'm just gonna. I know it's not him, but I haven't used a guess. Bartolo Colon.
Incorrect.
All right, there we go.
I like the H.
So we like it's an arm player. This guy does not play in baseball anymore.
Is he but he's a former Yankee.
He is a former New York Yankee, correct.
Former Yankee, former pitcher.
He's a former pitcher. God, I was about to say Brad Auspice, but that's not a guess.
I'm
clearly.
not going to count it. So
I was not going to let you count it. So
what if I do count it? Fuck.
Jonathan Holder.
Incorrect.
Wow. Jonathan Holder.
What a fucking guess, Joe. But unfortunately, you K out. But it's a great guess. I don't think I would do Jonathan Holder. I think that's
a Joe Pugliese kind of move.
That's a little mean. I wouldn't do Jonathan Holder. Not to you guys.
Alfredo Aceves.
Not Alfredo Aceves. I like the guess. I don't even know if I would do Alfredo Aceves to you guys.
I don't think so either. I'm so convinced that it's an A at the end. So I'm just trying to think of pitchers where the last name starts with A. I could be wrong though.
By the way, Joe, I knew it was Ty Wigginton off the rip. I was trying to give it a little bit of time. I was like, this couldn't be more obviously Ty Wigginton. Corey, you're
active player.
Corey, you're at 1K. Tom, you're at 2. Corey, when you take a guess, I'll give you guys one more hint.
All right, Carl Pavano. I know it's not him.
Not Carl Pavano. Okay, so this player was acquired via trade.
That's the guess.
Okay, via trade, and he's a 2010s pitcher. And that's it. That's all I give you. Tom 2Ks, Corey 2Ks. Anybody from the comments? Still no correct guesses from the comments. Nothing.
This is a tough one, Rich. I think you got him.
Oh.
No.
This is not the kind of the game that you can really even cheat on. I'm not accusing my co-host of cheating, but this is like guess the graph's the one game that's like, how you gonna cheat? How can you?
Autograph scanner app.
I guess. I guess you do reverse image. I guess on Google. We're up to 101 people in the building. Shout out to you all. Thomas might be on it.
I think I know. I'm Brett Anderson.
is incorrect. And I don't even think
is that the guy I'm thinking of? Really
Probably not.
Well, it
former Brewer also.
I'm not going to give more guesses.
I was thinking of Brett Anderson.
Ryan Anderson.
No, I was thinking of Brett Anderson. Wasn't a Yankee, though.
Mm-mm. All right, Corey, it's up to you.
All right. Again, I don't think this is it. When you said inactive, you might have not meant retired. He could be hurt. Frankie Montas.
Listen, you're good like that, but I'm not that kind of guy. No, this guy is actually formerly retired. The correct answer is James Paxton. The big maple. You kind of see the JP, and yes, he was number 65. Yeah. I was hoping that wasn't going to be the giveaway. I just didn't know how to white that out, so I just left it and took the chance that no one was going to get it. So James Paxton is the correct answer. No one in the chat got it. So shout out to me. I'll take all the points on that one. So a point toward under review, but a point towards either Tom or Corey. We're going to see. We're going to look at the replay later. Again, we go back to New York, but I certainly got the point on the last one. All right, folks.
This is a giveaway.
We're going to finally wrap things up here for Empire State of Baseball. Again, we got extra innings on in just a few more moments. So that's hosted by the entire ESB crew. But for next week's episode, we got a special announcement. Actually, in fact, it's breaking news here. I've been mentioning over some spaces that we were going to have a special guest that's going to join us for our next edition of At the Plate. And I'm pretty excited that we are going to be joined by a member of the New York Yankees broadcast team, specifically with WFAN. And it's not Dave Sims, it's not Susan Wallman, but it is Emmanuel Babari, who's going to be joining us next week. And Emmanuel Babari is awesome at what he does. He was doing play-by-play work for the Yankees for the majority of last year while John Sterling was out. This year, he's been doing the post-game shows for WFAN. He's also been filling in for Dave Sims when called upon, and he does an amazing job. And for Emmanuel, I hope he's able to get a full-time gig in baseball somewhere because he's got a great voice, great personality. Fox Sports, SNY, WFAN. So, Joe, I know a couple of years ago, not even a couple of years ago, I think it may have been last year, we had a similar person of this position on our show, Pat McCarthy. So again, it'd be really nice to talk to another play-by-play guy who's been in a Major League Baseball booth and now with the New York Yankees, Emmanuel Babari.
No, that's going to be great. I think it's going to be great insight. He's worked with. I'm curious if he has got any like Sterling stories that nobody knows about. Like that's I want to pick his brain on just the kind of person John Sterling was and how, kind of being behind Sterling kind of shaped what he's doing now. So that's going to be a fascinating conversation with him.
Hey guys, got to run here. Great show. Excited for the guest next week, but I do got to run. So we'll see you later.
See you later, Thomas. We'll
Adios,
see you
Thomas.
next week. And hopefully we see you all next week. This is going to be a great show for us to have Babari on for Empire State of Baseball. So we'll see you guys all Monday, June the 2nd, as Emmanuel Babari will be our second At the Plate guest joining us here on ESB for number 128. But that's going to be it for ESB. Just going to finish this up with some closing thoughts, and then we'll throw it all the way off to Corey Favs to send us home. Again, thank you all for joining. 100 in the building. Love that. And where our TikTok is still going off. I won that game. I don't think we still need to play the clock. But great show. Thank you guys all. We went a little over time, but we still hung on with all you guys here. So we really do appreciate every week you guys showing up here. Joe, throw it to you, and then Corey for the wrap.
No, thank you. I'm going to be burning the midnight oil, watching 3 innings of the Met game before I go crash out in bed. Yep,
exactly. I'm right there with Joe. But it's going to be a good episode next week. Looking forward to it. Hope you all tune in. And, we'll take it from there. But until next time, take care.